Then Miss Zhou told everyone to go back to the residence and not to panic. She then told her bodyguards to inspect the explosion. Everyone was surprised by the speed of the bodyguards as they moved as fast as advanced stage martial disciples. Wang Teng then told Xu Jie to take care of the white fox, as he would also go and take a look. When Wang Teng left, Miss Zhou also noticed, and was surprised by Wang Teng's speed, which revealed his advanced martial disciple stage. Then the bodyguards returned, and said that the sound came from extremely far away, and nothing happened within their area. So she just dismissed them and left. Wang Feng was jumping from tree to tree and saw deep pits on the ground, and thought that there must be a fight between high-level martial warriors. He was more excited than afraid, as he never rubbed the balls of a martial warrior. He was very curious, so he went closer, and saw a fireman laughing crazily after he killed another man. But the man's joy didn't last long as his head was penetrated by a bullet from Wang Teng. Wang Teng was lucky that he had a gun then. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to kill the man in a head-on attack. There he saw a light ball he never saw before, and it was about a fire talent that was at the beginner stage. He also saw some sword skills of fire killing, and many fire force balls too. He rubbed those balls and fused them. Immediately after, the system notified him of the description of the skills. A new talent column appeared in the system screen, but he was even more joyful when he saw that the ice talent balls and ice skills were still there after the Iceman was killed by the fireman. So he touched those balls too, and as soon as he touched the ice ball, his body became a battleground for the two different and opposite attributes. He thought of this possibility, but he thought the omnipotent system would make things smoother. He suffered intense pain from constant melting and freezing, but he persevered and kept himself awake throughout the pain, and gradually succeeded in creating a balance between these two talents. After that, he went back silently to the residence. But as soon as he got into the banquet, he heard Miss Zhou announcing to everyone that Wang Teng was an advanced martial disciple. She then asked if he found out anything from checking out the explosion. Wang Teng replied that he was just a martial disciple and didn't have as much experience as the bodyguards she had, who fought many battles. And so he added that going out to check out the place was a waste of time, as he didn't find out anything. He then also said that a fire broke out where the explosion occurred, so he escaped from the fire. He was laughing inside as he was the one that set the place on fire to cover up his little crimes. Well, he didn't forget to hide his gun and his bike outside before coming to the party too. Then, after the party was over, Wang Teng went back home after giving Bai Wei a lift. Back in his bedroom, he was feeling really grateful as he listened to his curiosity and left to inspect the explosion. Otherwise, he would never be able to gain so much. He also gained rune weapons and gloves that could be sold for millions. Then he took out an egg, which must be the reason for the two warriors fighting each other. He contemplated the miracles of the system again, and was curious about what this system really was, and its origin, while he fell asleep. The next day he was in a hurry to go to the class as he was late due to the late night's banquet. But as soon as he got into his class, he was thanked by a group of students as they said Wang Teng told them in advance that this year's exam quota would be eased, and even the intermediate disciple would be able to take the exam, which didn't let them give up. Well, his previous self said this when he heard it from his father. After the class was over, he went to the pet store to try to find incubators for hatching the egg he got. On his way, he saw a star beast that was targeting him. It kept attacking him, and Wang Teng understood it came by smelling the scent of the egg. Just as he was about to throw the egg at the beast, he saw the beast that was chasing him killed with a single arrow that came from nowhere. Later, he found out that person that killed the bird was a martial warrior from the City Protection Bureau. But Wang Teng's focus was on a blank transparent ball that was dropped from the beast. But he was stopped from going forward by security personnel. Back in his home, he experimented with a new talent called Spiritual Sight, and found out that it let him see the energy types. He was very happy, as if this was true, then he would be able to find out a martial warrior's strength and talent type by using his eyes. But after a while of use, he felt that his mind was becoming tired, and he understood that it consumed spiritual energy to use this talent. But at that moment, he noticed that an energy source was approaching his direction fast. So he quickly went towards the location and saw a man who asked him about the explosion that had happened days ago. Wang Teng initially denied his involvement, but the guy pointed out the swords and gloves he was using, threatened him to hand them over, and also added that there was a big difference between a martial warrior and a martial disciple. Wang Teng pretended to give up to lower the guard of the guy. Then he attacked with the ice sword with his ice talent. But the guy blocked it, but to the guy's surprise, another blade covered in fire came towards him as it slashed on his chest. The guy was dumbfounded, for Wang Teng was able to use ice and fire talent at the same time. Then the guy created an earth wall to block the attacks of Wang Teng. But it was broken by Wang Teng's ice fist. Thus, the life of another martial warrior ended at the hands of a martial disciple. After the fight, he quickly grabbed the bubbles and gained earth talent too. When he got back home again, he felt the need to carry the weapons more safely. So he browsed the internet for any method to carry weapons and found out he could use a weapon carrier casket. But when he went to buy it, he found out that he needed a martial warrior's ID number for the purchase. He was annoyed and told the salesman to deliver it first. Then he would tell him the ID number. But the salesman said he needed to register and have a certificate to use a rune item. Next day in class, Wang Teng was constantly looking at Lin Chuhan. She noticed it and became a bit embarrassed, but Wang Teng then asked her to tell the teacher to cover for him as he was going to skip class again. When asked where he was going, he said he was going to the Martial Art Association. Near the association, Wang Teng noticed that the majority of people living here knew martial arts. Thus, he wore a disguise to protect his identity and got into the reception room. However, his face mask caught quite the attention. Nonetheless, the receptionist guided him through the procedure, and Wang Teng also completed the process smoothly. In another place, a guy with glasses got a notification that said that Wang Teng became a martial warrior at the age of 17. They talked about how they also got a report of the same student being involved in killing criminals just days ago. So they looked at the surveillance camera and immediately recognized him. They also talked about how the reports say that Wang Teng became an advanced martial warrior after joining the Jixing Martial House within a month. After getting the ID card, he left the association and returned to the class. Back in the class, Lin Chuhan asked Wang Teng if he could lend her some money. She was embarrassed to the point of becoming as red as a tomato. Then Wang Teng asked how much. Then she timidly said 150,000 and that she would pay it back as soon as possible. Wang Teng didn't hesitate as he earned quite a lot these days by robbing people, not to mention his family was rich. He then comforted her, saying not to worry and just pay attention to her study. Wang Teng then wondered what made her stoop so low to seek money, so he followed her back after transferring the money. There he saw Lin Chuhan getting into her family shop that sells groceries. When he was hiding at the corner, he met a bald guy that looked as round as balls and threatened him not to look at them. Soon he found out about their identity as they started seeking money from the shop owner and threatened to close the shop if the money was not ready. Then Wang Teng saw Lin Chuhan's mother saying they got half the money after borrowing some and sought for a few more days to get the full money. But the bald man shouted that they had given them enough time and asked his underlings, who were martial artists, to destroy the shop. But Lin Chuhan stepped out and told the gangsters to take out the loan receipt, and she will give them 150,000 that they owed. Then the gang leader agreed, saying he would comply, but added that 150,000 was 3 days ago, and now, with the interest of 3 days, it would be 200,000. Lin Chuhan was furious and said that they would sue the gangsters, but the gangster didn't look afraid and said that it won't work, but if she became his girlfriend, he could forgive all the loans. Mama Lin immediately shouted, saying that even if the entire shop got destroyed, she wouldn't let Lin be his toy. Seeing the situation escalating, Wang Teng appeared and cursed the bald ball. Thus his underlings rushed toward Wang Teng, but he beat them up like little kids. He then got out of the shop to not destroy it, and the remaining gangsters followed after him. Nevertheless, the result was the same, and when the bald head was fleeing, Wang Teng hit him with one of the phones that he got from the gangsters. Wang Teng found out that even ordinary martial artists like Bald Head also drop balls when beaten. So he kept slapping the bald guy over and over and picked up their balls. He then threatened the bald guy not to make any further moves, and told them to watch the news about the guy who killed the robbers that were advanced martial artists. Hearing that, the bald guy cried and said that they won't dare. Then Wang Teng told Lin Chuhan to transfer just 100,000. After everything was finished, Lin's mom thanked him and said that they would pay him as soon as possible and invited him to dinner. Lin was embarrassed and almost tripped when her mom told her to take Wang Teng to her room. Then Wang Tang asked Lin about her father, and she said that he would see him later. When they got upstairs, Wang Tang saw a man that didn't have one leg, sleeping on the sofa. When asked, she said that his dad used to be martial warrior, but when he went into Xingwu continent, he not only lost his legs, but even his martial arts were crippled. So Wang Tang asked her why she wanted to practice martial arts so much, when she knew martial arts were filled with difficulties. In reply, she said in a cold tone that she wanted revenge, and added that, according to her father's teammates, he was trapped by the rival team and almost died. So he asked if the teammates helped their families after the incidents, and she said that most of the time, they were in the Xingwu continent and couldn't return. But just after the incident, her young sister's sickness flared up, which forced them to borrow money from the loan sharks. Wang Tang was even more shocked knowing she got a little sister, and asked what kind of illness was so serious. She replied that they couldn't figure out the type of illness even after all these years. Then Lin Chuhan knocked on the door before going in and saw Lin Chuxia sitting on the bed. But Wang Ten was surprised by the number of balls she had. But Lin Chuhan warned him not to get closer to her sister, since she was filled with poisonous miasma. But how could he give up so many balls of this little girl?